Okay, let's talk about something I don't really want to talk about. We've already discussed it. It's been a really shitty week. Well, a a young couple who are both working for the Israeli embassy. They work at the Israeli embassy in D.C. They were just outside of the Jewish museum in D.C. And they were shot by a terrorist. A young man. I'm not gonna say his name because fuck him. But he shot him. He went inside the museum. Cops went in and got him. And as he came out, he put his fist in the air and he says, "Free Palestine." This is all bad. It's all bad. It's a tragedy that these two young people were killed. Turns out that they were going to be getting, they just gotten engaged. And it's a tragedy that they got killed. It's absolutely a tragedy. And the fact that there was a protest going on right outside there, uh, it was either a protest or a fundraiser going on outside for uh, for food for Gaza. And this guy goes up and shoots these two people. And this is terrorism. No getting around it. When you kill somebody for either political or for religious purposes, that's terrorism. That is the classic definition of terrorism. Problem is that this is going to be weaponized by the right. I spoke earlier about Project Esther, where there are a handful of people who work for the Heritage Foundation are doing everything in their power to curb your freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of protest. And you can do that for anything except protesting the genocide in Gaza. Anything that's got to do with Israel has been equated to Jewish people, which is not the case. This is a Zionistic genocide, it's an ethnic cleansing. And they are equating that with being anti Semitic. And this guy, who, by the way, has a manifesto, Ken Klippenstein released, or allegedly, he released the alleged manifesto from this guy. And reading it, the guy did not say anything about Jewish people. For the most part, he was talking about the genocide that is being done in Gaza. Does not make what he did right. It's absolutely wrong, and it needs to be condemned, just like what the Hamas did on October 7th. But over the last 18, 19 months, we have seen nothing but bitter death and destruction. Right now, Gaza is completely under siege. They haven't had food enter into Gaza for almost 80 days. Um, they have dropped more bombs in Gaza per capita than they dropped in Vietnam over the 10-year period. The population of Gaza at the beginning of this whole thing was 2.3 million people. And I have heard officials, not just Donald Trump, but other officials refer to the remainder of Gazans as 1.8 to 1.9 million people. So that's like a tacit admission that they killed anywhere between 4 to 500,000 Gazans. But I assure you that this is going to be weaponized. You are going to see on all of the right wing media um, this terrorist over and over again. You're already seeing it on places like CNN. You know, so Fox News is going to have a field day with this. This guy, this terrorist, is not helping out the cause of the Gazans. You just set it back. You just did. You know, it has to be nonviolent, or else it will be used as a weapon. by these Zionist types. And it's hastening, punishment for people like me who are even talking about this. Me calling it a genocide or an ethnic cleansing, according to a lot of people would be construed as anti-Semitic, even though it is not. That is not the definition of anti-Semitism. I mean, they are putting people that are holding up signs saying not just free Palestine, but stop the genocide. They would put those people in the same camp as the Charlottesville rioters that were walking around with tiki torches saying the Jews will not replace us. They're putting us in the same boat. This is not helping. Meanwhile, they just did in Haaretz, which is a local Israeli paper, they did a poll where they polled Israelis in Israel, and they found that there was a 56% support of cleansing Islamic Gazans. Israeli Gazans. There was a 82% support for the ethnic cleansing of Gaza, and there was a 47% support of killing all of the Gazans. That's just straight up killing. So nearly half of the population is cool with just killing every Gazan. Last night, there was a bombing run and they killed 50 Gazans just overnight. I heard a quote from a doctor recently that said something that kind of scared me. The quote was, the children who are most susceptible to getting killed in Gaza are from ages 6 to 9. Because they are too big for parents to carry them, and they're too small to run away from gunfire. I heard a Republican representative, his name is Randy Fine, and he basically suggested we just nuke the place. And he's not the first person to actually say that. So this bit of terrorism that this guy did by shooting 2 young, innocent kids, this is going to be used as a weapon. I'd like to read this to you. This is from Jeremy Scahill, Drop Site News. I don't know if you know this or not, but when Israeli leaders like Netanyahu, Ben-Gvir, Smotrich, when they speak to Americans in English, their language is a little bit subdued. But if you translate what they say when they speak to their own people in Hebrew, they say something a little bit different. Israeli Finance Minister Smotrich gave a speech Monday defending Israel's strategy of mass devastation in Gaza, saying humanitarian aid is only being allowed, quote, so the world does not stop us and accuse us of war crimes. The goal, he insisted, is to, quote, conquer, clear, and stay until Gaza is completely dismantled beyond recognition. On aid, Smotrich said only the care minimum would be allowed inside Gaza. Quote, a few bakeries distributing pitas, a daily portion of cooked food. Citizens in Gaza will get a pita and a plate of food. That's it. That's exactly what we see in the videos. People standing in line waiting for a plate of soup. Quote, the purpose, he admits, is not to relieve, but the optics. It allows the world to continue providing us with international protection. We are annihilating everything that remains in the Strip simply because it is one big city of terror. And he described the new military strategy as one of permanent occupation. No more raids with ins and outs. We are conquering, clearing, and staying until Hamas is completely destroyed. Remember when they were talking about how they wanted to get the hostages out, and that was their most important thing. And, they wanted to make sure that Hamas was done. And reports were there were about 30,000 Hamas members in Gaza. And even official reports say that they've killed over 50,000 Gazans. And like I said a minute ago, that it's distinctly possible that it's probably somewhere closer to 400,000 Gazans are dead. And not even counting the kids that are starving right now. I mean, we've got officially over 15,000 dead kids, and they stopped counting a year ago. When is enough? I'm not saying October 7th wasn't bad. A lot of people died. It was about 1,200 people that died. That's terrible. It's a fucking tragedy. It's awful, and it should be condemned. But how much revenge do you get? I continue. He welcomed the shift towards targeting Gaza's civilian infrastructure. So not even talking about Hamas. He's talking about Gazan civilians. Quote, the IDF is finally conducting a campaign against the civilian rule of Hamas, eliminating ministers, officials, money changers, and figures in the economy and government apparatus. He boasts of the scale of destruction. We are dismantling Gaza, leaving it in ruins with unprecedented destruction, and the world still hasn't stopped us. I mean, he's right. Nobody stopped him yet. The ICC, said that it's possible war crimes and possible genocide, but, we sanctioned the ICC, the International Criminal Court, right back. We don't give a shit what international courts say. He also added that personally, he would prefer a total blockade of food, water, and medicine until the last of the hostages returned. We should also not let water into the Gaza Strip. Smotrich endorsed ethnic cleansing as an official policy. The population will reach the south of the Strip, and from there, God willing, God ain't got nothing to do with this, you bastard. God willing, the third countries as part of the President Trump's plan. This is what they say to their own people. This is what they say in private. This is not the stuff that you hear when they get on the news and they speak in English and they talk to the American people. When they're talking to themselves or they're talking to their own people and they're speaking in Hebrew, you really get to hear what they really feel. I mean, as if we don't have Google Translate. They just bombed a what do they call those? When you have a prosthetic limb, I guess, warehouse. Gaza has the largest amount of people with prosthetic limbs because they're a war-torn country. And Miss Rachel, I don't know if you guys know who Miss Rachel is. Miss Rachel, honestly, she's probably one of the most popular children's entertainers in history. She's essentially the modern day Mr. Rogers. She sings, she loves kids, and recently the New York Times did a story on her where they suggested that she waded into this Gaza conflict and that it could be misconstrued as anti-Semitic. She did a little video with a little girl who's a double amputee. She's 3 years old. She managed to get evacuated out into the States. She's no longer in Gaza. Of course, the rest of her family are in Gaza, the ones that are remaining alive, and they're all starving. And she does a little video with this little girl who's got missing both of her legs. And she's adorable. She's the cutest little thing you've ever seen. And just watching the video just makes me want to cry, because this little kid is going to have to grow up with no legs. But she looks happy. She's bouncing around with Miss Rachel singing her a song. And now these ghouls that are screaming anti-Semitism at everything are now attacking Miss Rachel, calling her an anti-Semite because she said, I care for all children, including Gazan children. Joking about pager bombs is violence. Is violent speech. Not saying that I care about little children. Blowing up a prosthetic leg warehouse is violence. Killing over 100 reporters, killing hundreds of doctors, shooting and blowing up dozens and dozens of hospitals, killing thousands and thousands of Gazans, starving children to death is fucking violent. It is fucking horrible. And as much as I feel for these 2 young, innocent kids that got assassinated, and I do, how can you not look at this awful devastation and not say anything? I can't remember her name. I'm drawing a blank on her name. The woman who runs Code Pink, she's like this 75, 80-year-old woman who wears pink all the time, and she is really serious about stopping this genocide. And she managed to make it into Congress, and she starts following around congressmen and senators, asking them, do you care about these starving kids? And then she'll go to another one and she'll say, the report says that within the next 48 hours, if these people don't get any food, they're going to die. Do you care about that? And you've never seen a congressman run away so fast from a little 5-foot-tall, 100-pound, 78-year-old woman who just wants some peace. But they're running. They have absolutely nothing to say about it. They're getting their money from AIPAC, or they're just bought into the bullshit propaganda that, Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, as they drop bomb after bomb every single day, provided for by the American government and paid for by the American taxpayer. And it ends up destroying life, destroying families, watching a father pick up the pieces of their exploded child, trying to put them back together. Seeing a father hold his child with a bullet hole that blew through his head and out the back, screaming. Seeing people put flames out of the backs of their family members who are living in tents who just got firebombed by a 2,000-pound bomb that was provided by us. It is absolutely deplorable, disgusting. We are witnessing modern day fascism, and Ben-Gvir and Smotrich and Bibi Netanyahu are the modern day Nazi party. There is no other way to put it. There's no other way to put it. God, I hope that somebody in leadership just gets a little bit of morality, because I don't know how much more out of this shit I can take. It's all bad. It's all bad. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.